Hello, I'm Llewellyn King. For 40 years I've been writing about energy, and I've seen every alternative energy come to market, but there's been one missing, or in my mind there's been one missing, and that's ocean energy. But anyone who's ever been to the beach knows that there's more power in the ocean, and it's there all the time, unlike the wind, than there is practically anywhere else. Now, ocean energy is coming to market, is coming of age, and to tell us about that is Sean O'Neill of the Ocean Energy Coalition. Sean, welcome to the broadcast.
Llewellyn, thank you for having me.
Where has ocean energy been? We've had solar leap ahead, we've had windmills erected all across the world. Where was the ocean?
Well, the challenge of dealing in the ocean is you've got salt water, it's corrosive, you've got power beyond compare. If you look at something like the Gulf Stream, you've got 24/7 baseload potential. But that water is constantly moving. In the United States, we looked at wave energy back in the 70s and the 80s, and in 1992 we gave up on it. I think one of the reasons we gave up on it was the promise was too great, and people engaged a bit in hyperbole. You can desalinate water, you can create a baseload form of electricity.
Every new technology is oversold. This one was grossly oversold.
It was just too easy to oversell. But since 2005, the United States put ocean renewable energy back into the definition of renewables. And our Congress, and I think the political will in our Congress has changed such that starting in 2008, they started funding the industry. And that funding continues through today. In fact, in December, President Obama signed a bill authorizing $34 million for the industry in fiscal year 2012.
It's fairly modest.
When you're thinking about energy, it's very modest. It's a spit in the bucket, but it shows increase, and it shows that even in tough times like we have right now, that there is a political will, and our congressmen and our senators understand it. They understand that we need to have consistent funding. When we look at Europe, when we look at other parts of the world, they've been more active in ocean renewable energy than we have, at least from the years, say, 1992 to 2005.
Tell us, how does ocean energy work? Is it things that ride up and down with the waves? Is it turbines in the water with the currents going through, essentially windmills underwater? How does it work?
All the above. There's over 100 technologies that are being looked at worldwide. In the United States, we're looking at about 30 or 40 different technologies. Everything from what looks exactly like a wind turbine underwater, horizontal axis, 3-blade turbine. You've got helical turbines that look kind of like an old push lawnmower. You've got vortex-induced vibrations at the University of Michigan, which oddly enough has one of the largest architectural schools, marine architectural schools in the United States. They saw the power of vortex-induced vibrations when the Tacoma Narrows Bridge failed years ago.
And how does that work?
When a fluid goes over a tube, it turns in on itself and creates vibrating, and it's very powerful. The folks at University of Michigan believe that it's a good way to capture the power of slow-moving water. If you look at tidal turbines, you're looking at very fast-moving water, and things like the Verdon Power Project in the East River of New York, which uses those things that look just like wind turbines.
It would seem that ocean power has enormous potential in the US because most of the people live on the coast, so the generation and the people should be fairly close together.
It makes perfect sense. You want generation close to where the population is, but also the kinds of jobs that are available. When you're making these devices, you're going to make them nearby so that you don't have to transport these big heavy machines.
Environmental downside?
Fear of the unknown. we don't have a lot of real-time data. And quite frankly, the gut feeling is that these are going to be some of the most benign when it comes to the turbines that we've seen so far. I've seen videotapes and I've seen Didson sonar of fish swimming around tidal turbines.
But things turning in the water are not new. They're called propellers. They've been turning in the water for quite a long time, very fast, and a lot of them.
That's right.
So we know something about what happens to water when it's churned. This is a case in reverse. The water is rather gently churning something.
That's very true. And at the same time, when you look at existing uses of our oceans, we get a lot of economic development, whether it's shipping, whether it's recreation, whether it's oil and gas exploration, mining. There's a lot of economic activity on our oceans. And if you were just to take an overlay of all the different activities and overlay this activity over that activity, there wouldn't be any room for anything. International cooperation has been tremendous, and that's where our learning curve in the United States has just exponentially grown. We're all in this together, and what I'm seeing in the marine and hydrokinetic industry is that the Scots, the Irish, the Japanese, the Koreans, you name it, we're all working together because capturing carbon-free energy from a source that doesn't require mining or drilling or processing, and it's generation near the load, so you don't have to build tremendous, thousands of miles of transmission lines.
Sean O'Neill, this is very exciting. I have been writing, as I said at the beginning of this short broadcast, about energy for more than 40 years. I wrote a study for President Nixon on the potential of alternatives as well as the main energy sources, and oceans were mentioned in a throwaway, passing way because we didn't know how to do it. Now apparently we can do it, and a little bit of news, it's being done very effectively in Scotland and Ireland, where they are getting power from the oceans. I hope very soon the lights that power this television studio will be from the ocean. Relatively benign, abundant, and domestic. Fabulous.